Welcome back, queens. Have you ever felt the sting of being ignored? That sinking feeling when you send a message and hours pass with no reply, when you pour your heart out and he gives you nothing in return. You wait, hoping he will see your worth. You try harder, thinking maybe if you love him more, if you prove yourself, if you stay patient, he will finally choose you. But he won't. Because the harder you try, the less he values you. The more you beg for his attention, the more he pulls away. And here's the cold, hard truth. A man will never cherish what is handed to him without effort. If you have to beg for his love, you are already losing yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "He who needs nothing has everything." Let that sink in. The moment you stop begging, the moment you walk away with dignity instead of clinging, you take back your power. You stop being an option. You become the one who got away, the one he regrets losing, the one he can never replace. But first, you must let go of the idea that you need to fight for his love. You do not need to convince anyone to care for you. Love is either given freely or it's not worth having. Think of a diamond. A diamond does not beg to be noticed. It does not chase, does not scream for attention. It simply exists, rare, valuable, undeniable. And because of that, people seek it, desire it, pay any price to have it. But imagine if a diamond threw itself into the hands of anyone who looked at it. It would lose its value instantly. That is what happens when you beg. You lower your worth. You turn yourself into something too easy, too available, too replaceable. And a man will never chase what he believes he can always have. But here's the secret. The moment you stop needing him, he will start needing you. When you walk away without looking back, when you stop texting, stop trying, stop showing up to prove yourself, he will feel it. He will wonder. He will question. Because suddenly the energy has shifted. Now he is the one unsure. Now he is the one who has lost something. And that is the moment he finally realizes what you were worth. But by then, it's too late. Because you have already stepped into your power. You are no longer the woman who waits by her phone, hoping he remembers you exist. You are the woman who moves forward, who glows, who radiates self-worth so fiercely that he cannot ignore it. And the best part? You are no longer doing it for him. You are doing it for yourself. A queen does not beg for a seat at the table. She builds her own throne. A queen does not plead for love. She commands respect. And that is exactly who you are becoming. Strong, untouchable, unforgettable. The moment you stop chasing, you step into a power that cannot be ignored. The moment you stop proving, you become the one he can't stop thinking about. But do not do this for him. Do it because you deserve better. Because you were not made to wait in the shadows, hoping a man will one day see your worth. Your worth is not up for debate. It is not something to be bargained for, begged for, or fought for. It simply is. And the moment you finally believe that, you will never again chase what should have been yours effortlessly. This is your moment. The moment you stop crying, stop questioning, stop waiting for a man to realize what he had. The moment you walk away, head high, heart steady, soul unshaken. And when he looks back, and trust me, he will, he won't see the woman he once took for granted. He will see the woman he can never have again. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. I do not beg. I walk away with dignity. Let the world know that you're done waiting, done proving, done pleading for attention that should have been given freely. And if this message lit something inside you, if it reminded you of your strength, your power, your worth, then like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working hard to bring you life-changing lessons because you deserve nothing less. Together, we rise. Together, we reign. Now go and let him feel the weight of your absence. Queens, if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the power you've always had, but maybe forgot, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We pour our hearts into creating content that uplifts you, strengthens you, and reminds you that you were never meant to beg. You were meant to be chosen, to be cherished, to reign. Your support helps us continue this mission, and together we rise, we thrive, and we claim the lives we deserve. Number 1. The more you beg, the more you become invisible. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to hold on, the faster he slips away? The more you text, call, and wait for his attention, the less he seems to notice you. It feels like the harder you try, the more invisible you become. And that's because begging for love does not bring it closer, it pushes it away. A man does not value what is always available, always waiting, always proving itself. The moment you beg, you hand him the power to decide your worth. But your worth is not something he gets to measure. Your worth is yours to claim. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." The pain of being ignored, of feeling unimportant, of wondering why he isn't choosing you, it all exists because you are still allowing it. You are still giving him that control. But the moment you stop, the moment you let go, that pain begins to fade. You do not need to fight to be seen. The right man will never make you feel invisible. Think of a flame. Fire does not chase after the wind, begging it to stay. It burns, it glows, it demands to be seen. And if the wind blows too hard and tries to smother it, the fire does not beg. It simply finds another way to rise. That is exactly what you must do. Stop running after someone who only moves further away. Stop proving yourself to a man who should have seen your value from the start. You think that if you try a little harder, love a little more, stay a little longer, he will finally see you. But love does not work that way. The more you beg, the more he takes you for granted. He sees you as something he can always have, something that will always be there, no matter how little he gives in return. And that is why he stops trying. That is why he stops valuing you. Because he knows, no matter what he does, you will always be there. But what happens when you stop? When you don't call, don't text, don't chase? Everything shifts. Suddenly, you are not invisible anymore. Now he wonders where you went, why you disappeared, why the energy he took for granted is no longer his to claim. And that is when he finally realizes, you were never the woman he could overlook. You were the woman he should have cherished. Queens, listen to this truth. A woman who stops begging is a woman who becomes unforgettable. A woman who knows her worth does not fight for a seat at a table where she is not welcomed. She walks away. Because she understands that love is not something to be earned through suffering. It is something that should be given freely. And if he cannot give it freely, then he is not the man for you. A queen does not beg for attention. She commands it. She does not plead for love. She receives it effortlessly. And that is who you are becoming. Not a woman who waits. Not a woman who chases. A woman who reigns. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself is the moment you become a force no man can ignore. So let go. Let the silence speak for you. If he was meant to be in your life, he will come back on his own. And if he doesn't, then you just made space for something greater. No more waiting, no more proving, no more begging. This is your time to rise. Queens, Write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. The more I let go, the more powerful I become. Say it, believe it, live it. And if this message reminded you of the strength that has always been inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working hard to bring you life-changing lessons because you were never meant to beg. You were meant to be chosen. Let's rise together. Let's reign together. Your power starts now. Number 2. A woman who walks away is a woman who is remembered. Have you ever noticed how a man only starts paying attention when you finally stop trying? When you pull away, when you go silent, when you stop chasing, suddenly he remembers you. Suddenly he realizes what he had. But when you were there, giving your all, fighting for his time, proving your love, he took you for granted. That is the brutal truth. The woman who begs is forgotten. The woman who walks away is remembered. Seneca once said, "A wise man does not grieve for what he has lost, but rejoices for what he has left." This is the mindset you must embrace. You are not losing, you are gaining. Gaining clarity, gaining strength, gaining the realization that you were never supposed to fight for someone who made you feel unseen. The moment you decide to walk away, not in anger, not in desperation, but in quiet, unwavering confidence, you shift everything. He will feel it, because nothing is more haunting than a woman who once loved him deeply, but is now completely unreachable. Think of the wind. When it is soft and constant, people barely notice it. But when it leaves, when the air goes still, the absence is undeniable. Your presence, your love, your energy was something he never truly appreciated. But when you remove it, when you take everything back without a word, he will feel the emptiness. He will wonder where you went, why you stopped caring, why the warmth he once ignored is suddenly gone. But queens, let me tell you something even more powerful. By the time he realizes, you will no longer care, because the woman who walks away is not waiting to be chased. She is not leaving as a strategy to get his attention. She is leaving because she knows her worth. And that is what makes her unforgettable. When you stop begging, when you stop explaining, when you stop proving, you rise. A woman who values herself enough to walk away with dignity is a woman who leaves a mark. Not just on him, but on everyone around her. She becomes a force, a presence that lingers long after she's gone. Because she did not crumble, she did not break, she did not let heartbreak turn her into something bitter or weak. She became untouchable. A man will never forget the woman who did not beg for his love, but instead demanded his respect. And the only way to demand that respect is to walk away with grace. No pleading, no second chances, no waiting for him to change. Just silence, just strength, just the quiet power of a woman who has outgrown his games. If he truly valued you, he would never have put you in a position to question your worth. If he truly wanted you, he would never have risked losing you. But he did. And now, you must let him live with that choice. A queen does not sit outside a closed door, knocking, waiting, hoping. She turns around and builds a castle where she is celebrated, not tolerated. And when he looks back, when he finally realizes what he had, when he finally sees that no one else compares to the woman who walked away, it will be too late. This is your moment. The moment you stop explaining yourself. The moment you stop waiting. The moment you stop giving your love to a man who never truly appreciated it. This is the moment you step into your power, your dignity, your worth. And once you do, you will never again settle for anything less than what you deserve. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. I am the woman who walks away, and I will never be forgotten. Let the world know that you are done begging, done proving, done waiting. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the strength you have always had, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working hard to bring you the wisdom, the power, and the truth that will set you free. Together we rise. Together we reign. Now go and let your absence speak louder than your words ever could. Number 3. If he is comfortable losing you, let him. Have you ever wondered why you fight so hard to stay in someone's life while he seems perfectly fine letting you go? Why you cry, beg, explain yourself, trying to hold on to something he doesn't even seem afraid to lose? It hurts. It makes you question your worth. It makes you think if you just tried harder, loved him more, proved yourself, maybe, just maybe, he would finally see what he has in you. But here's the truth. If he is comfortable losing you, let him. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions. And if a man's ambition does not include keeping you, fighting for you, choosing you, then what does that tell you? It tells you that you were never his priority, that he never truly saw your worth. Because no man risks losing a woman he truly values. No man lets go of something he fears losing. If he does not care whether you stay or walk away, then what are you holding on to? A fantasy? A hope? A version of him that only exists in your mind? Think of fire, a fire that burns bright, warm, alive. Now imagine trying to keep a fire alive when the other person refuses to add wood, refuses to feed the flame. You exhaust yourself trying to keep it from dying, but it's not just your fire to maintain. Love, respect, connection. It's meant to be built by two people, not carried on the back of one. And yet here you are, doing all the work, while he sits back, unbothered, watching as you burn yourself out. But this is where everything changes. This is where you stop. Stop fighting for a man who doesn't fight for you. Stop explaining yourself to a man who already knows how you feel but chooses not to care. If he is comfortable with your absence, be strong enough to give it to him. Because the moment you do, the moment you walk away instead of clinging, the power shifts. Now, he is the one who must face what he lost. A man will only value what he fears losing. If he is willing to let you go without hesitation, then your presence was never something he cherished to begin with. And that is not a reflection of your worth. That is a reflection of his blindness, his inability to recognize something rare when it's standing right in front of him. But just because he does not see your value does not mean you're not valuable. Diamonds do not stop being precious just because the wrong man cannot see their worth. And queens, listen carefully. The strongest move you will ever make is walking away with dignity. No begging, no chasing, no trying to convince him to see what he should have seen from the start. The way you leave will define everything. He will expect you to fight for him. He will expect you to cry, to plead, to hold on even when he gives you nothing. Do not give him that satisfaction. A queen does not ask to be chosen. She does not wait for a man to realize she is worthy. She walks, not because she has no heart, but because she knows her worth is not up for debate. And when she walks, she does not look back. That is who you are. That is the energy you must step into. The moment you stop begging for a man who was ready to lose you, you become the woman he will never forget. Because one day, he will look back. He will see your strength. He will remember the way you carried yourself. Not as a woman who begged, but as a woman who chose herself. And when that moment comes, it will be too late. He will realize that he let go of something he can never get back. But you will already be too far ahead, too strong, too untouchable. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. If he is comfortable losing me, I am strong enough to let him go. Let the world know that you are done chasing, done waiting, done proving your worth to a man who was too blind to see it. And if this message gave you even an ounce of strength, if it reminded you of the power that has always been inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working hard to bring you the lessons, the truth, the reminders you need to step into your highest self. Together, we rise. Together, we reign. Now, go, and let him feel the weight of your absence. Number 4. You are not a side character in his story. You are the author of your own. Have you ever felt like you were just a side character in his life? Like you were always there, always waiting, always adjusting to his needs, while he lived his story exactly how he wanted? You made him the main character. You placed him at the center of everything, hoping he would finally see you, finally appreciate you, finally make you feel like you belonged in his world. But he didn't, and he won't. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be a supporting role in his story. You are the author of your own. Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." And this is your lesson, the lesson that will change everything. You do not exist to fit into his life. You do not exist to make him comfortable while you shrink. You do not exist to be a placeholder until he decides what he wants. You are not here to be written into his script, playing the quiet, patient, ever-giving woman who keeps giving and giving while receiving nothing in return. You are here to write your own story, to take control of your own path, to reclaim the pen that you once placed in his hands. Think of a book, a story where the main character is strong, unstoppable, fearless. A story where she makes her own choices, follows her own path, and never waits for someone else to decide her fate. Now imagine reading a book where the main character just waits for love, waits for attention, waits for someone to choose her. That is not a story anyone would want to read. That is not a life worth living. And yet, that is what you've been doing, waiting for him to make you feel like you matter. But the truth is, he will not see your worth as long as you are handing yourself over so easily. The more you adjust for him, the more you make excuses for him, the more you put his needs above your own, the less he values you. Because nothing is more invisible than a woman who does not see her own power. The moment you decide to step out of his shadow, to stop waiting, to stop making him the center of your world, everything changes. You are not just a character in his life. You are a force, a storm, a woman who decides her own fate, a woman who does not ask for permission to be valued, a woman who does not need to prove her worth. Because the right man will never make you feel like you need to audition for a place in his life. The right man will see you, and if he doesn't, then he was never meant to be a part of your story in the first place. And queens, listen closely. You do not have to wait for a man to recognize your worth before you start living in your power. You do not need to hear him say, "I was wrong," before you move on. You do not need to wait for closure, for an explanation, for him to finally see what he lost. You are not living for him. You are living for you. A queen does not sit around waiting for a king to write her into his life. She builds her own kingdom. She makes her own rules. She walks in her own power. And when she finally takes control, when she finally stops waiting, when she finally steps into her strength, he will see it. He will feel it. He will regret ever making her feel like she was a side character. But by then, it won't matter, because she will have already written a new chapter, one where he is nothing more than a lesson from the past. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. I am not a side character. I am the author of my own story. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done living for someone else's approval. And if this message spoke to your heart, if it reminded you of the strength that has always been inside you, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working hard to bring you life-changing lessons because you deserve nothing less. Together, we rise. Together, we reign. Now go and start writing the story where you are the one in control. Number 5. Love should feel like a gift, not a debt. Have you ever felt like love was something you had to earn? Like you had to prove yourself, give more, try harder, just to feel wanted? You text first, you wait for replies, you overthink every word, every silence, every shift in his energy. And still, you feel like you are not enough. You give your love like a payment, hoping one day he will see your worth and finally give you what you deserve. But love should never feel like a debt you owe. Love should be a gift, freely given, deeply felt, effortlessly received. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." If your ambition is to be loved, to be cherished, to be chosen, then why are you lowering your worth by begging for something that should come naturally? Love is not a battle where you fight to be seen. It is not a transaction where you constantly give, hoping for scraps of affection in return. Real love flows. Real love does not need to be forced. Imagine a river. A river does not beg the land to accept its water. It does not fight to prove its existence. It simply flows, carving its path, shaping the world around it. But what happens when a dam blocks its way? The river does not stay trapped forever. It builds pressure, it grows stronger, and one day it breaks free. That is exactly what happens when you stop forcing love, when you stop holding back your own worth just to keep him. The moment you let go, you become unstoppable. But here you are, holding on, hoping he will change, hoping he will wake up and see you, hoping that one more chance will make the difference. But how many chances have you already given? How many times have you made excuses for his neglect, his silence, his half-hearted love? How many times have you convinced yourself that if you just tried a little harder, gave a little more, he would finally love you the way you deserve? Enough. The time for proving is over. The time for walking away has begun. Because here's the truth. A man who truly values you will never make you feel like you have to earn his love. He will not let you beg. He will not let you suffer. He will not let you question whether you matter. Love that is real does not make you feel small. It does not drain you. It does not break you. It does not leave you empty. And the moment you realize this, the moment you decide that you are done begging, done proving, done waiting, everything changes. A queen does not stand in the streets, offering her crown to the first man who looks her way. She does not hand over her worth in hopes that he will see it. She carries herself with the quiet power of someone who knows. Love is not something to be chased. It is something to be received. And if he cannot see your value without you forcing him to, then he never deserved to be in your presence. So stop waiting, stop chasing, stop turning love into a debt that you must constantly pay, constantly fight for, constantly prove. The right man will never let you feel like love is a test you have to pass. He will meet you where you are. He will see your worth without you having to remind him. He will choose you, not because you begged, but because you stood firm in who you are and let him come to you. You are not here to convince a man to love you. You are not here to shrink yourself to fit into his life. You are here to be adored, cherished, respected. And if he cannot give you that, then your only option is to walk away with dignity. Do not let fear keep you where you do not belong. Do not let loneliness make you accept less than you deserve, because the love you are meant for will never require you to beg. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. My love is a gift, not a debt. I will never beg for it. Let this be your truth. Let this be your power. And if this message reminded you of the strength that has always been inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here creating life-changing lessons to help you rise, to help you reclaim your worth, to remind you that you were never meant to beg. You were meant to reign. Number 6. Your absence will do what your words never could have you ever felt like. No matter how much you explain yourself, no matter how much you express your feelings, he just doesn't seem to hear you. You tell him how much he's hurting you, how much effort you've given, how much you need him to change. You try to make him understand, try to make him see your worth, but nothing works. His responses are cold, distant, if he even responds at all. And then the frustration sets in, the anger, the exhaustion. You ask yourself, what else can I say? But queens, the truth is, words will never do what your absence can. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And in this case, waste no more time explaining what your worth is. Show him. If he is not listening, stop speaking. If he is not valuing you, stop giving. If he does not appreciate your presence, make him feel your absence. Because words can be ignored, twisted, dismissed. But silence? Silence is unforgettable. Think of an echo. When you shout into the mountains, the sound bounces back. It returns to you. But if there is nothing to bounce off, if there is nothing there to hold it, the sound dies. That is what happens when you keep talking, keep explaining, keep fighting for a man who does not value you. You are throwing words into an empty space. But the moment you stop, the moment you choose silence over explanation, that's when the shift happens. Because when you leave, when you go quiet, when you remove yourself, he will feel it. He will wonder where you went. He will notice the absence of your love, your energy, your presence. And it will hit him harder than anything you ever said. Because now it's not words, it's reality. You are gone. And now he must sit with the consequences of taking you for granted. A man does not realize what he has when it is constantly available. He does not appreciate the air he breathes until he is gasping for it. That is how absence works. When you are always there, always reaching, always proving, he does not see your value. But when you walk away, when you no longer explain, no longer argue, no longer fight for his attention, that's when he starts listening. You have begged, you have pleaded, you have given more than you should have. And where has it led you? To the same place, the same cycle, the same disappointment. It's time to do something different. It's time to walk away, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with power, with dignity, with the quiet strength that says, I will not fight for a place in your life. If you cannot see my worth, then you do not deserve me. A queen does not sit at a table where she is ignored. She rises, she leaves, she builds her own empire. And when she does, those who once overlooked her, they feel it. They regret it. They wish they had treated her differently, but by then she is already gone, already thriving, already untouchable. This is your moment. The moment you stop proving, the moment you stop explaining, the moment you stop waiting for someone to finally wake up and see what was in front of him all along. Instead, you turn your energy inward. You pour into yourself. You reclaim the time and love you wasted on a man who never deserved it. And in that silence, he will feel everything you ever tried to say. So let go. Let the silence speak for you. Let your absence be the loudest statement you ever make. And if he comes back, if he finally sees what he lost, then the question is no longer, will he choose me? The question is, do I even want him anymore? Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. My absence will say what my words never could. Let it be your truth. Let it be your power. And if this message woke something inside you, if it reminded you of the strength you have always had, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here to remind you of your worth, to help you rise, to make sure you never forget that you were never meant to beg. You were meant to reign. Number 7. You are not a beggar. You are a crown without a king. Why are you waiting? Why are you hoping he will see your worth, give you the love you deserve, and finally treat you the way you always wished he would? How many nights have you spent overthinking, rewriting messages, holding on to moments when he gave you just enough to keep you there? But here's the truth you need to face. You are not a beggar. You are not here to prove, to convince, to fight for a place in his life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you keep thinking you must earn his love, that you must lower yourself to be chosen, you will live in the shadow of that belief. But the moment you shift your mind, the moment you see yourself as a prize, not an option, the moment you walk away instead of waiting, everything changes. Think of an unclaimed crown sitting on a throne. It does not chase. It does not beg to be worn. It sits in silence, waiting for the right one to be worthy enough to claim it. That is you. A crown without a king. A woman who does not lower herself just to be picked. The right man, the one who truly sees you, will rise to meet your worth. But if you beg, if you plead, if you wait for him to choose you, you turn yourself into something ordinary. And you, my dear, are far from ordinary. A man will never cherish what he does not have to work for. If you are always there, always reaching out, always proving yourself, he will never feel the urgency to step up. A queen does not hand herself over like a common jewel. She waits to be placed upon the head of a king who's earned her. The moment you stop chasing, stop begging, stop giving him a love he has not earned, you step into your power. Let him feel your absence. Let him wonder. Let him sit in the silence that once held your laughter, your love, your energy. Because the second you walk away with dignity, he will feel it. He will realize that something rare has slipped through his fingers. And if he truly values you, he will return. Not because you begged, but because he knows he must rise to meet you. And if he doesn't, then he has already made his choice. And now it's time for you to make yours. You do not need to chase. You do not need to force what is meant to be effortless. The love you deserve will never require you to kneel for it. It will never require you to fight for a place in a man's life. It will come naturally, powerfully, undeniably. Until then, you stand tall. You hold your head high. You remind yourself that you are a crown, and not every man is fit to wear you. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who knows her worth. A woman who does not break when he walks away. A woman who does not beg for his love, his time, his attention. A woman who walks away without looking back, knowing that her future is far too great to waste on a man who could not see her worth. And when that moment comes, when he realizes what he lost, when he questions his own decisions, when he feels the emptiness of your absence, it will be too late. Because by then, you will have already risen into a woman far beyond his reach. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. I am a crown. Only a king can claim me. Say it. Believe it. Live it. And if this message lit something inside you, if it reminded you of the power you've had all along, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here to remind you that you were never meant to beg. You were meant to reign. Your support helps us continue this mission, and together we rise, we thrive, and we claim the lives we deserve.